Hello my motor enthusiasts. At the recent Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, we witnessed a chess game of strategy and mishaps. Fernando Alonso, alongside Lance Stroll, made a bold move to snatch the bonus point for the fastest lap from George Russell, who was already dazzled by the traction of Max Verstappen's Red Bull on worn hard tyres. Meanwhile, Sergio Perez grappled with his car's balance, skidding off after tweaking his brake balance too far. Aston Martin played a tactical game using Alonso to disrupt the field, aiding Stroll's climb up the points ladder. On the flip side, Alexander Albon faced a frustrating race, marred by a pit stop blunder that left him questioning his team's strategy. Amidst all, Charles Leclerc, under the guidance of new race engineer Brian Bozzi, eyed an opportunity against Lando Norris that unfortunately ended with a skid off track. Each team radio unveiled a narrative of ambition, strategy, and sometimes, sheer misfortune. What a thrilling race it turned out to be. Hello there. I'm Enzo and I'm joined by the ever-insightful William. You're listening to us on F1 Motor Fever podcast, where we bring you the hottest Formula 1 news every day. If you're loving our content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and drop us a comment. Sharing our podcast with your friends and family really helps us keep bringing you these updates. You won't believe the drama from the latest race.
Absolutely, Enzo, it's a thrill to unravel these race day strategies and mishaps with our listeners. The twists and turns on the track are nothing short of a blockbuster movie.
Couldn't agree more, William. And speaking of drama, wait till you hear about the strategic plays at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. It's a story of precision, tactics, and a few unexpected slip-ups that I find absolutely fascinating. So, stay tuned for the full rundown. Full throttle. Moving over to Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll, they made a bold play at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, attempting to snatch the fastest lap bonus from George Russell. It's intriguing to see how teams maneuver around each other, isn't it?
Absolutely. And what's more fascinating is the comment about the Red Bull's traction, which seemed to have caught Russell off guard earlier in the race. It just shows the level of detail these drivers are paying attention to, even in the heat of the race.
True, and then there's Sergio Perez, who lost a significant amount of time after tweaking his car settings, only to skid off at the final corners. It's moments like these that can really turn the tables in a race.
Speaking of unexpected moments, Alexander Albon's race was virtually over after a pit stop blunder early on. His team failed to secure a wheel properly, which completely threw off his strategy for the rest of the race.
That's right, and the radio exchanges not broadcasted brought out some raw feelings. For instance, Albon and his team realized almost immediately the severity of the pit error, discussing the potential undercarriage damage right as he re-entered the race.
It's those behind-the-scenes dynamics that really add depth to our understanding of the race day pressures. Teams apologizing to their drivers post-race also highlights the high stakes and teamwork required in Formula 1.
Indeed, and it leads us into wondering about the strategic communications during the race, like when Alonso was advised to create a gap or just hold position behind another car. It's all strategic, trying to make the best of a bad situation.
And let's not forget the lesser-heard radio snippets like Norris chasing Verstappen for victory, adding another layer to the competitive spirit witnessed at Imola. It's never just about one race or one lap, but a continuous battle of wits and nerves.
Absolutely, and as we peel back these layers, it just keeps getting more gripping. Stick with us for more insights into these tactical plays and team dynamics. Full throttle. And back to Alexander Albon, his race was a rollercoaster, wasn't it? After that pit stop debacle, he was experiencing significant understeer, yet he was quicker than before. He managed to UN lap himself from Fernando Alonso and didn't trigger blue flags again, which is quite the feat considering his earlier troubles.
Indeed, it's remarkable how he handled the situation, showing some real skill to stay in the race effectively. Even when his car was compromised, he pushed on, asking his team what the goal was since he felt stuck behind slower cars.
And speaking of goals, it's curious, isn't it? There was a moment when Albon was querying the strategy, almost hinting at not only the car's damage but also some disbelief in the numbers being relayed to him. Makes you wonder if there's more to these mid-race adjustments than meets the eye.
Ha ha ha, always the conspiracist, aren't you? While it's tempting to speculate on hidden strategies or undisclosed car issues, we should tread carefully. These insinuations, though intriguing, might not hold up. After all, racing is as unpredictable as it gets.
Fair point. But it's hard not to get drawn into the drama of it all, especially when Albon finds himself negotiating not just with the track, but his own team's strategy and the physical state of his car. And then, just when things seemed to be improving, he was slapped with a penalty for that earlier pit stop error.
That's motorsport for you, fast, furious, and unforgiving. Albon's situation just underscores the complexity of Formula 1, where every second and every decision can dramatically alter the course of a race.
Exactly, and it's these behind-the-scenes battles and the sheer resilience of drivers like Albon that keep all of us glued to our screens or eagerly listening for the next update. Speaking of, stay tuned for more race breakdowns and analyses right here. Full throttle. Meanwhile, Sergio Perez was facing his own set of challenges during the race. Starting on the harder tyre compound, he was noticeably struggling with the car's balance. Quite a risky move, tweaking his brake balance mid-race, which unfortunately led him to skid off at Ravazza 1.
It's a delicate dance, isn't it? Adjusting the car settings while clocking high speeds. What do you think led him to choose such an aggressive adjustment in such a crucial part of the race?
It appears to be a calculated risk that didn't pay off. Perez was trying to find that sweet spot for grip, especially in the high-speed turns, but overcompensated. It's a fine line between optimal control and pushing the car too far, leading to errors like this.
And these adjustments, they're happening in real time, correct? How complex are these changes from a technical standpoint?
Absolutely, they're made on the fly. Drivers and their engineers communicate constantly to tweak settings like differential locks and pedal maps, aiming to adapt to the track's demands minute by minute. It's very complex, involving layers of data and real-time feedback from the driver.
Speaking of data, how significant are these mid-race performance analytics in shaping the race's outcome?
They're crucial. Teams analyze everything from tire degradation to fuel load, adjusting strategies accordingly. This data can dictate pit stops, overtaking chances, and defensive tactics. It really is a race of brains as much as it is of speed and endurance.
And with all these variables, just how adaptable does a driver need to be?
Exceptionally adaptable. It's not just about driving fast, but also understanding and managing the car, almost like a second skin. Adaptability can make the difference between finishing strong or not finishing at all. That's what makes Formula One such a compelling sport to follow. Right, for those just tuning in, today on F1 Motor Fever podcast, we've been delving into the thick of yesterday's Formula One action. We discussed Alexander Albon's challenges with understeer and strategy, not to mention his subsequent penalty due to a pit stop error. We also touched on Sergio Perez's struggles with his car's balance and the adjustments that led to his off-track skid.
It's been quite a detailed look into the complexities of race strategies and the split-second decisions that can dramatically influence the race outcome.
Absolutely, and it's these elements that not only challenge the drivers but also keep us on the edge of our seats. Formula One is not just about speed, it's about precision, strategy, and adaptability. The ability of these drivers and their teams to manage and respond to numerous variables is what makes this sport so fascinating.
Indeed, the technical side of things is often as thrilling as the racing itself. So, what's next on our analysis?
Let's dive deeper into the race strategies used by the top teams and how these decisions played out on the track. Stay tuned as we break down the moves that made the headlines. Moving on to another interesting tactical play during the race, we saw George Russell managing to overtake Perez. Despite Perez's remarkable traction out of the final corner on those worn hard tires, Russell's fresh stint allowed him to clinch the position. It was indeed a pivotal moment, showcasing the fine margins in Formula One.
That's quite the maneuver from Russell. It's impressive how tire strategy plays into these key overtakes. And how about Alonso's role? Aston Martin really utilized him strategically to boost their race day, didn't they?
Absolutely. Starting from the pit lane, Alonso was used almost like a chess piece. Aston Martin brought him in for an early pit stop which triggered reactions from other teams, presumably to counter any advantage Alonso might create on fresh tires. Later, they instructed him to hold up Esteban Ocon to aid Lance Stroll, who was fighting for points further ahead.
It's fascinating how teams use one car to tactically enhance the other's position. It adds an extra layer of strategy beyond just the direct race for positions.
Indeed, and it speaks volumes about the team dynamics in Formula One. Every driver's performance can have a ripple effect on the entire team's results. It's not always about individual glory, but often about how you can contribute to the team's overall strategy.
With all these tactical plays and unexpected turns, it certainly makes each race unpredictable and thrilling.
Exactly, and that's what keeps the sport so exciting. Each lap, each corner holds the potential for a shift in strategy or an outstanding display of skill. It's what makes Formula One a premier sporting spectacle. Now, let's take a moment for a bit of trivia that ties nicely into what we've been discussing. Did you know that the Monza circuit, often referred to as the Temple of Speed, is known for having one of the fastest lap records in Formula One history? It's a track where engines are pushed to their limits and where aerodynamics play a crucial role in maintaining high speeds through the long straights.
Oh, absolutely, and it's also one of the oldest circuits in the sport, isn't it?
Indeed, it is. The Monza circuit has been a staple in Formula One since the series began in 1950. Its layout has undergone several changes over the years, but the essence of high speed remains a defining characteristic. It's a circuit that perfectly combines history with the technological advancements of modern Formula One.
And speaking of speed, it's interesting to note that the slipstreaming battle down Monza's long straights can often lead to some of the most thrilling overtaking maneuvers seen in the season.
That's right. The slipstream, or drafting, allows trailing cars to gain a speed advantage by reducing aerodynamic drag. It's a tactic that has led to many nail-biting finishes at Monza, making it a favorite among fans for the sheer unpredictability it brings to races.
Absolutely, it showcases not just the driver's skill but also the strategic depth teams employ in planning overtakes and defending positions.
Precisely, and that's what makes Formula One a fascinating sport for both the casual viewer and the seasoned aficionados alike. Each race is not just about speed, it's about strategy, precision, and a dash of boldness. Shifting gears a bit, here's a fascinating piece of trivia about Formula One tyre strategies. Did you know that the fastest pit stop ever recorded in Formula One was just under 2 seconds? It was achieved by the team at Red Bull Racing, who changed all 4 tyres in an astonishing 1.92 seconds.
That's phenomenal, isn't it? It really highlights the incredible precision and teamwork required in the pit lane, which can be just as competitive as the racing itself.
Absolutely, and it's not just about the mechanics. The driver's entry and exit from the pit stop have to be perfectly timed as well. It's like a well-choreographed ballet, where every millisecond counts.
And speaking of timing, it's intriguing how these pit strategies can influence the entire outcome of a race. Choosing the right moment to pit, balancing tire wear against track position, it's a complex decision-making process.
Indeed, and that's why the strategists on the pit wall earn their stripes, so to speak. They are constantly analyzing data, weather conditions, and even what competitors are doing to make those split-second decisions.
It makes every race not just a test of speed, but a test of strategic acumen. It's what keeps the sport so dynamic and engaging for fans all around the world.
Exactly, and that's what continues to drive the passion of millions of Formula One fans globally. Every race is a narrative of speed, strategy, and precision, all playing out at over 200 miles per hour. Moving on, we had some interesting developments in the recent race. Alonso and Cronin were in a tight spot, defending against Ocon. Alonso was instructed to defend from Ocon to aid Lance's race. It's always fascinating to see how team tactics unfold during the race, isn't it?
Indeed, team dynamics can really shape the race's outcome. Speaking of tactics, I noticed that Alonso was told to switch to strategy 6. Could you elaborate on what that might entail for those less familiar?
Certainly. Strategy 6 typically refers to a specific engine or power unit setting that teams use to either conserve fuel, manage tire wear, or sometimes to give the car a bit more power. In Alonso's case, it seemed to be about optimizing performance while ensuring they could fend off any threats from behind and assist their teammate.
That's quite an intricate balance to maintain. And how about Lance? It sounds like he was making some significant headway.
Absolutely, Lance was doing exceptionally well, moving up to the 10th position and even setting his sights on Tsunoda for the 9th. It's a testament to his driving skills and the team's strategy on the day.
Now, shifting gears a bit, the race also marked a new chapter for Charles Leclerc with Brian Bozzi stepping in as his race engineer. How do you think this change impacted his performance during the race?
A fresh perspective in the engineering team can sometimes bring a new level of insight and strategy. Bozzi was quite encouraging, urging Leclerc to be patient in his chase against Norris, predicting a possible overtake towards the end as the McLaren's tyres might degrade. However, Leclerc faced a setback at Variant Alta, the same spot where he had trouble in his last visit.
That's quite unfortunate for Leclerc. Patience must be critical in such high-stakes environments. How important would you say is the relationship between a driver and his race engineer in influencing race outcomes?
It's absolutely crucial. The driver and engineer must have a solid line of communication and trust. The engineer acts as the driver's eyes and ears off the track, providing vital information and strategy adjustments based on real-time data. It's a partnership where both must sync perfectly to maximize performance on race day.
It seems like every second and every decision counts even more than one might realize.
Precisely, and that's what makes Formula One such a compelling sport. It's not just about the fastest car or the most skilled driver, it's about strategy, communication, and precision, all coming together in perfect harmony. Let's touch upon another strategic dimension from the race. As we saw, Bozzi was constantly guiding Leclerc through those critical final laps. At one point, he told Leclerc to keep it in 6th gear into Ravazza, which is quite unusual, right?
Actually, the instruction was to keep 7th gear into the next corner, not 6th. It seems like a minor detail, but in racing, such nuances can make a significant difference, especially at high-speed corners like Ravazza.
You're absolutely right. My apologies for that slip-up. Keeping 7th gear would indeed help in maintaining higher speed through the corner, capitalizing on aerodynamics. Thank you for pointing that out.
No worries at all. It's all part of the intricate dance of communication between the driver and their engineer during the race. Speaking of communication, the situation with Alex Albon was quite poignant, wasn't it?
Absolutely, it was a tough call for Williams. After realizing that Alex's race was compromised, they decided to use the remainder of the race as a test session, focusing on understanding the brakes issue he was facing.
And it was quite honest of James Vowles to come on the radio and apologize to Albon for the situation, acknowledging the team's shortcomings. It's rare but refreshing to hear such openness in team communications.
Yes, that transparency not only shows respect for the driver but also helps in building trust within the team. It's all about learning and coming back stronger. And speaking of learning, the race provided several insights into tire management and strategic calls, didn't it?
Indeed, and those lessons will be crucial as the teams prepare for the upcoming races. Every bit of data and every communication helps refine their strategies and improve their on-track performance.
The race also threw up some interesting strategies around the midfield, particularly with Tsunoda and Stroll. For instance, Tsunoda was initially unsure if he was competing with Stroll, given their different strategies. It seems like managing these race dynamics can be as crucial as the fight at the front.
Absolutely, and it's intriguing how teams manage communication under such high-pressure situations. It turns out Stroll was indeed part of Tsunoda's race, but they advised not to lose time battling with him as he was on a faster strategy.
Yes, it demonstrates the complexity of race tactics where you're not only racing drivers ahead or directly behind you but also managing those on entirely different strategies. It's a layer of strategy that often goes unnoticed.
I've never thought about it from that angle before. It's a good point to ponder how much the mid-race strategic calls influence not just the immediate battle but potentially the outcome of the race.
Exactly, and speaking of strategic nuances, there was another interesting moment involving Alonso. Once his teammate Stroll secured a points finish, Alonso turned his focus on setting the fastest lap, although he wouldn't gain a point from it. The goal was to deny Russell and Mercedes the bonus point. Such tactics not only influence one's own team but can also play a critical role in the championship battle by affecting rivals.
That's a sharp strategy, using what you might call a defensive offense. It shows that every lap, every second in Formula One can be used as a tactical advantage, not just for personal gain but for strategic team plays.
Indeed, and Alonso using Stroll for a tow mirrors Verstappen's qualifying strategy where he got a tow from Nico Hülkenberg. It's fascinating how these tactics are mirrored in various forms throughout a race weekend, showing the depth and versatility in team strategies.
It all adds layers to the race that might not be immediately visible but are crucial to the outcomes. It's what makes Formula One a chess game at 200 miles an hour.
Moving on, in the penultimate laps of the race, there was a significant shuffle. Alonso was gearing up for the fastest lap, leveraging Stroll's position in ninth. He was planning to use Stroll's slipstream to enhance his lap time. Interestingly, Alonso's lap time was set with hard tyres, which was an unconventional choice for a fastest lap attempt.
Hold on, wasn't Alonso on soft tyres for that attempt? That would typically be the go-to choice for setting a fastest lap, especially towards the end of the race.
Ah, you caught me there. You're absolutely right, he was indeed on soft tyres. I was just pulling your leg to see if you were paying attention. He wouldn't stand much chance on hard tyres for a fastest lap, especially not in those final stages.
Blimey, you had me there. For a moment, I was about to delve into the physics of tyre compounds. Good jest.
It's always good to keep things light and test our wits, isn't it? But back to the race, even with the right tyres and the planned tactics, Alonso's best lap was still 0.4 of a second off Russell's time on medium tyres, which was a disappointment for Aston Martin.
Indeed, it shows how even with optimal conditions and strategies, the performance of different tyre compounds can be unpredictable and critical to race outcomes. Alonso and Stroll's collaboration highlights the team dynamics where even if one driver is out of contention for points, they can still play a crucial role in strategy.
Precisely, it's all about team play, isn't it? And speaking of strategy, the use of doctors and strategic energy deployment in those final laps was textbook. Alonso letting Stroll past and then taking the doctors to attempt the fastest lap was a clever move, even if it didn't ultimately pay off.
Absolutely, the tactical nuances like these are what make Formula One such a fascinating sport. It's not just about speed, it's about smart execution of strategies under pressure. Every second and every decision counts.
Now, shifting our focus to another crucial part of the race, Alonso's strategic play in the closing laps was pretty pivotal. He utilized the doctors effectively, being let through by Stroll not just once but multiple times to maximize his speed on the straights.
That's right. The choreography between teammates towards the end of a race can be quite dramatic. Stroll's willingness to support Alonso in achieving a better lap time by giving him doctors repeatedly shows strong team dynamics and strategy.
And despite these efforts, it was a challenging race for Alonso. They were vying to stay ahead of the leaders, and every second gained through these maneuvers was critical. This kind of teamwork might not always lead to a podium, but managing to extract every possible advantage is what keeps the teams in the fight.
It's also worth mentioning the broader implications of lap traffic on race strategies. Gasly, for example, was constantly dealing with blue flags, which significantly hampered his race. He lost a considerable amount of time having to let the leaders through.
Indeed, managing blue flags can be just as strategic as fighting for position. For Gasly, it was about losing as little time as possible while being lapped. It highlights how every aspect of the race, even those that seem to hinder a driver, can be used strategically to minimize time loss.
Exactly, and it's the constant calculation and recalibration that makes Formula One such a complex sport. Teams must continuously adapt to the evolving race conditions, whether it's deciding when to concede a position or how best to utilize team orders and doctors.
Absolutely, the final laps of any Grand Prix are a testament to the strategic depth of Formula One. From drivers to engineers to strategists, it's a team effort to navigate each lap as efficiently as possible. And that's what we saw play out, not just with Alonso and Stroll, but throughout the grid. In the last race, traffic and blue flags played a significant role, not just in strategy but also in the drivers' frustrations. Gasly, in particular, felt the pinch. He lost about 20 seconds due to blue flags, and what's interesting is that he pointed out the team hadn't anticipated this, which left him quite perplexed.
That's an interesting insight. It's fascinating how such a crucial element can sometimes be overlooked in strategic planning, even with all the data and analytics involved. Racing isn't just about the cars and the drivers, it's equally about the decision-making in the pit and how well a team can anticipate and react to real-time race developments.
Exactly, and it wasn't only Gasly who dealt with repercussions from strategic calls. Look at Piastri's case. Despite the penalties and the race dynamics, he managed to pull through with a commendable finish. His engineer even apologized for the qualifying impeding incident, acknowledging their own part in the mishap.
I've never thought about it from that angle, but you're making a good point. Acknowledging mistakes and learning from them is as much a part of Formula One as is celebrating victories. It's about constant improvement and readiness for whatever comes next, like the upcoming race in Monaco, which, as they said, is going to be very different.
Absolutely, Monaco presents a unique challenge with its tight corners and limited overtaking opportunities. Every team will be on their toes to adjust their strategies accordingly. It's a complete shift from other circuits and demands precise driving and impeccable strategy to excel.
It's also a test of a driver's mental strength. Navigating through Monaco's streets, where a single mistake can end your race, is a daunting task. The drivers must balance aggression with caution, which isn't easy at such high speeds and under immense pressure.
Indeed, and that's what makes the Monaco Grand Prix one of the most exciting races of the season. It's not just about speed, it's about precision, strategy, and mental fortitude. The entire team plays a crucial role, from strategists to the pit crew to the driver themselves. It's a collective effort towards achieving the best possible outcome on one of the most iconic tracks in the world. Now, touching on another interesting point from the weekend, Leclerc highlighted how teams like Red Bull and McLaren were notably effective with their hybrid boost during qualifying. This technological edge is what sometimes sets teams apart in those crucial lap times.
It's intriguing to see how the application of hybrid technology can influence qualifying sessions. It's not just about power, but also about how intelligently teams use the energy recovery systems to provide that extra boost when needed.
Indeed, and speaking of team challenges, Sainz also expressed some concerns about his car's performance over the weekend. He mentioned it was quite difficult to handle with a lot of unexpected snaps, making it tough to drive.
That must be frustrating for a driver. Having a car that doesn't feel right under you can really affect your confidence on the track. It's essential for teams to quickly rectify these issues, as the feel of the car is just as important as its outright speed.
Absolutely, and that's why the feedback loop between a driver and their engineers during and after sessions is crucial. Like Sainz, once back in the garage, they'll be poring over the data collected to understand what went wrong and how they can improve the car's behavior for the next race.
It's this continuous evolution over the season that can really make a difference. Teams that quickly learn and adapt can find themselves moving up the order as the season progresses.
And as we discuss the highs and lows from the weekend, it's also a reminder of how every race offers teams a chance to learn and refine. Whether it's mastering the hybrid boost or handling unexpected car behavior, every race weekend is a chance to evolve.
Indeed, and as we look forward to the next race, all these learnings will be put to the test again. It'll be interesting to see how teams apply these insights and whether we'll see shifts in performance based on the adjustments made.
William, what's the word on the street, internet-wise?
Right, listen to this. Chris Harris reckons, quote, F1 has outgrown Imola, unquote. It's kicked off quite the debate online about the challenges of modern Formula One at traditional circuits like Imola.
That's bound to stir up some strong opinions.
Absolutely, and it has. Exciter, for example, mentioned, quote, it also gives an insight to what F1 would have been without doctors. If you look at the famous Alonso and Schumacher battle, the size of the cars wasn't the problem. But overtaking in F1 without aids has never been easy. Another problem is that dirty air is a thing again, and once you get too close you use up the tires way too fast, unquote.
Overtaking has always been a hot-button issue, hasn't it? What's the take on altering the track?
Ros von Logan said that Imola used to have an extra chicane which made overtaking even worse. While here's an interesting one from Good Posture. He suggested that with modern cars and safety levels, you might even consider removing some of the chicanes like Tamburello to improve overtaking opportunities, but acknowledges the safety concerns due to past incidents.
Safety must always come first, but it's fascinating to think about how track changes could alter the racing dynamics.
Indeed, and there's more on that. Rev 46 quite likes both chicanes at Imola for their technical challenge, but suggests making changes to other parts like Tosa and Variant Alta to improve overtaking without losing the track's character.
It sounds like while the fans appreciate the technical challenge of Imola, there's a clear desire for more overtaking opportunities. How do folks feel about the current car designs affecting the racing?
Dakila mentioned that although the current generation cars were supposed to reduce dirty air, changes in ride height this year increased outwash and dirty air more than intended. Wood 4536 feels the new regulations have failed as the car following loses almost the same amount of downforce as the older models.
It's a complex issue, isn't it? Balancing the evolution of the sport with maintaining its essence and ensuring exciting races. Technology moves forward, but so do the challenges.
Exactly, and that's what keeps the debates going and the sport evolving. It's all about finding the right balance to keep the races exciting and safe.
Thanks for tuning into F1 Motor Fever podcast today. We've had a riveting discussion about the intricacies of Formula One at Imola, from technology and track layout to the challenges of overtaking. It's been great having you all on board. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our future discussions. Please do share our channel with your Formula One loving mates and groups, be it on WhatsApp, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, or even during your dinner chats and pub gatherings. And if you've enjoyed our chat today, why not drop us a comment?
And keep those spirits high. We've got loads of exciting content coming your way. Remember, we're here to keep you company with all things Formula One, so don't miss out on our next episode. Who knows what thrilling topic we'll be speeding into next? It's all on the horizon.
We truly appreciate your time and your passion for the sport. Looking forward to having you with us next time on F1 Motor Fever podcast.
Until then, keep the energy high and the conversation lively.
Pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road, our channel's content is pure gold.